What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripe Show. We're recording this Thursday afternoon after the Yankees got their butts kicked in the fourth game of the Baltimore series. Scott, I'll give you one guess what my dad texted me after the Yankees were shut out on Monday. Because if you remember what he texted me after they put up 30 runs in 2 days in Milwaukee.
It was an "I told you so" text message. It was an "I told you so." Like these bums left it all out in the two games that didn't matter. They scored runs when it didn't matter, and they can't score runs when it does matter.
Pretty much verbatim.
This is good. We should keep this. Since your dad won't come on the podcast, we'll just do a translation of what his or me guessing what his text messages are.
He's so tired of Judge right now. He's like, got to get him out of the 3-hole. Every time he comes up with men on base, he's just an absolute no-show. And he's not wrong. He has not been wrong. Aaron Judge, we've got numbers for all the guys around Soto, but
just in general, I mentioned this before we hit record, okay? Like, you look at what just happened. The Yankees lost 3 of 4 to the Baltimore Orioles. That's the fact. Does it feel like they were beat up, outmatched? Does it feel like they got their ass kicked? I don't know. For me,
not their ass kicked because they were in every game, but they also, despite the scores being close in a couple of those games, they were not in those games. The offense was a complete no-show. I had no confidence on Monday when they were getting shut out that they were going to come back late in that game. I had no confidence on Wednesday's game was the other really just absolute no-show. They got shut out again on Wednesday. I think this is the 7th time they've been shut out so far in the first month of baseball. Well, roughly first.
Well, Cabrera hit that home run and ended the shutout for that one on Heel's start. So
I'm sorry.
You're confusing Tuesday for Wednesday.
Confusing. Yeah.
But again, like that was one swing of the bat and got them there. But that's kind of what the series felt like to me, was the Cabrera home run, which was a weird home run in the first place with the ball getting lodged in the fence. No one has seen that before. It was interesting. But that's kind of the way it felt. It felt like up until today when Rodon, gave up a bunch of home runs and then inherited runners were scored as well. It felt like one swing of the bat was going to be the difference in the game. So the pitching overall, I thought for the most part was really good, really on both sides. But the Yankees starting pitching, I thought was, Heel by far, I think Heel was best start of the year. I thought everything about that start was great. I'm happy for the kid, and you could tell that he really felt good after coming off the mound. So that was good to see. We did kind of predict that, right?
Does it make you feel better that the Yankees didn't get their butts kicked? Like, I don't like you. Like,
it doesn't necessarily.
Right.
No. I'm not down in the dumps after that. That's really more.
I'm pretty down on this offense right now.
Yeah, the offense is struggling right now. But again, I understand that the 215 spots kind of skew these numbers. I put the stat in our chat earlier.
They really skew the numbers.
So I went back and looked as well a week ago, and it was at like 24. So it's still significantly higher than the run differentials. What I'm talking about. Last year, this time we're at +1 run differential. If you get rid of those 2 15 spots, it was at like 20, 24, something like that. But those 15 spots did happen, and you put it, so they're a 41 different run differential. And up until today, they were in first place with first team to 20 wins. So it's like you get how, I don't know. I just don't feel terrible after this series. I really don't, for some reason. And maybe people are going to kill me for that, but my gut is telling me that yes, the offense is struggling. But frankly, like the offense with this team, the one that was put out this year in 2024 was not what I was worried about. And Judge isn't hitting, and LeMahieu's not there, but the pitching has been really good. And to me, like if I'm looking long-term, bigger picture, that was the biggest thing for me was the bigger question mark was the pitching, and the pitching
sure
has been better than advertised.
Some of the best in baseball.
Yeah.
For the first month of the season. Okay. So we're now in May. Judge still is not hitting. Glaber still is not hitting. Stanton, barring like maybe a 10-day stretch in early April, not hitting. Rizzo, not hitting. Volpe, other than the first 2 weeks of the season, not hitting.
Acuna's not hitting either. to make just to make everybody feel better. Acuna's numbers
is this Atlanta Braves podcast
are crazy. I don't know, but it's maybe there's some type of a trend when you look around as well for certain players. But I mean, I was listening to MLB radio the other day. He's at a 25% strikeout clip, where last year he was at 11% and just missing the fastball, which is just weird.
Check his eyesight.
It's just a weird
Does he have
thing.
the Brandon Jury issue where he can't
He just
see?
needs glasses. He had tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Vertigo. He's playing baseball with vertigo.
That's what it was.
That's got to be the hardest
Brandon
thing.
Jury.
Baseball is one of the hardest things to do, hitting a baseball in sports. But trying to hit a baseball with vertigo, that's crazy.
Ask
borderline impossible.
Ask Anthony Rizzo last year. He couldn't really see the baseball after he got concussed. And you know what? Couldn't hit the baseball when you can't see the baseball. See ball, hit ball. See ball is the first part of that.
See ball, hit ball, right? You have to see the ball to hit the ball. That's true. Unless your name is Joey Gallo and you just swing in the same path every single time and pray to God that the pitcher makes a mistake and hits your barrel.
So at what point, though, do we say, well, it's Judge, he'll come around? Because it's a month into the season and he's not coming around. Hasn't come around yet. And he is killing this lineup because Soto is still on base all the time.
Yep.
And Judge leads the league in double plays with 10. That number blew me away when I saw it. 10 double plays from one single player in a month of baseball. The Yankees as a team lead the league in double plays with 38. They're on a historic record smashing pace of double plays.
I thought we're not talking about pace when this early in the season about things, because guess what?
We can talk. It's May 2nd. We can talk pace. We can talk pace. It's May 2nd.
Okay. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But I've seen too much to think that it's not going to come around. That's where I am. That's where my head is. Has
Aaron Boone incepted your body? It's like I don't.
Aaron Boone has nothing to do with this.
That's like a quote that he would say verbatim. Yeah. I've been around too long. I've seen these guys be too good for us not to start hitting. He was saying that until like August 15th of last year.
You're right. He was, and there was an extended period of time, but we're not at August 15th. We're just past April, and do I want them to switch and turn it around? Yes, of course I do. And it's a little concerning, I guess, that they haven't done that collectively, in this first month. But I don't know, man. I do. I think that this team has the talent on the offensive side to be one of the best offenses in baseball. So it doesn't make sense to me why it's not happening yet. And from the same thing we keep talking about, and you agreed with me last week, like Aaron Judge does not look hurt. There's nothing that looks wrong with him. He
looks lost at the plate. Yes. And then the frustrating thing is he'll have a 6 at-bat stretch where he looks like Aaron Judge again. And we're sitting here saying maybe he's turning it around. The announcers on Yes are saying maybe he's turning it around. And then you look up and he goes 0 for 4 the next night.
Yeah. No, it's puzzling because you think for him that he would be able to turn that around, and once he does hit that stride, then he'd be able to carry it through because he's that good of a hitter.
Exactly,
and that's not happening.
I'm not sitting here telling you Aaron Judge sucks. Like he's done. This is the end of his career. I'm not saying that.
They also ran into a really good pitching staff with the Orioles that has a ton of talent as well, and they got some arms in that bullpen.
The Orioles, like just talking talent 1 through 26. It's unreal.
Yeah, they're really good. With people waiting in the wings or just, chomping at the bit down in Norfolk, Virginia, with the Tides that are going to be coming up. The Holiday kid who has to figure it out, who is going to be back up at some point and probably hitting because that's just what he's going to do eventually.
So it's like you say, oh, do I feel down after this series? A part of me feels down because I look at that young Baltimore lineup and I'm kind of jealous of that. That is like a youthful, scary lineup is what that is.
100%. And throughout the year, they're going to get better. They're going to get more seasoned. They're going to get better. If their pitching can stay healthy, which it doesn't look like it is right now. I know Rodriguez is going on the IL after his first start because he had, discomfort or inflammation or something. But Corbin Burns, as advertised.
Yeah, that was the one game the Yankees won was the Burns game. Luis Hill legitimately outpitched Corbin Burns.
He did. And yeah, we talked about this, last episode. Like this is actually a pretty good matchup for Luis Hill because he's got such good stuff. And the Baltimore Orioles are very swing happy. They don't walk a lot. but they're also a very talented team. They hit the ball. I think they lead the American League in home runs, and they score a ton of runs. And it's not because they're patient and walk. It's because they swing the bat and hit the ball.
Piss out of the ball.
And when you get a guy like Luis Gil, who has just plus stuff and it plays, and it leaks out of the strike zone, with late movement, that can cause fits for a team like this that likes to swing the bat at things that look like they're in the strike zone. So I think his repertoire fits matchups well against that offense.
And he'll follow up his bad start in Milwaukee, in which he did get hit for pretty much the first time all season, where the Milwaukee bats did put good swings on him. He gave up a couple home runs in that game
and got deeper
back against Baltimore. Nothing negative to say about the Yankees pitching staff other than Rodon, which we'll talk about. But like the first 3 games, the Yankees were right there in every game because of their pitching staff. That's the only reason they were right there, because their pitching staff kept them in those games. The offense was not able to really mount anything. If you look at the numbers just across the series, 6 total runs, 21 hits in 4 games. You can't compete with Baltimore that little of offense. And then if you look at the offense around Soto, okay, these are the guys you need in your lineup, especially since Verdugo was out until today on paternity leave. Volpe went 2 for 16 in the series. His batting average is down to 262 on the season. Okay, he was hitting 450 like 3 weeks ago. That's not an exaggeration. He's down to 262. Judge 1 for 13. Rizzo 1 for 14. Stanton 1 for 10. Gleyber 3 for 14. Gleyber finally hit a home run today. It didn't matter. It was a 7-1 game at the point that he hit the home run or whatever it was. It broke like a 50-something game streak of no home runs for him.
Yeah.
You cannot have around Soto, who's been excellent, Volpe, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Gleyber, go a combined, I'm not going to do the mental math on the spot, but everyone's basically 1 for something, 2 for something.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. It was a bad timing for Verdugo to have a kid, especially as he was just moved into that 4 spot, had success, and had been swinging the hottest bat next to Soto on the team as well. You take him out of that 4 spot, and unfortunately, didn't bode well for the offense.
Were you watching the game? Oh no, you said you couldn't watch, so you were probably listening. Today
I was watching. I watched. I had to figure out how to watch. I watched every single one of them.
On you got the broadcast?
Yeah.
Did you hear in Verdugo's first at bat what Michael Kay said, or maybe this was Meredith or something, that they asked Boone why Verdugo's not hitting cleanup, because he had been hitting cleanup, and Boone said he wanted to ease him back into things.
So he doesn't hit in the 4 spot.
What?
But he's still gonna hit. Ease him back into things.
What are we doing here?
Mentally ease him back in. Don't go right into the 4 spot. The guy's fired up. Kidding me?
Like what?
He's probably jonesing to get back in here. He knows that the offense has been struggling. Get the guy in there. There's no one else that you can do. That makes no sense.
What kind of nonsense is that?
That makes no sense. That's a player's manager right there, man. You know what? He's just protecting his guy.
I felt personally attacked by Aaron Boone on Monday night when Clay Holmes came into the game when they were losing.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sitting there like, you got to be kidding me that you're bringing him in right now. You won't. And then he goes
5 outs.
Can't go 6 outs.
Can't go 6 outs. It was a 5-out save.
Can go 5.
He upped it to. He said 4 over the weekend though, so he upped it to 5. So maybe next time he will do a 6-out save.
It's wild. And talk about a guy who's been unbelievable. Clay Holmes. It feels like he's back in the top form that we've seen. He's right there with it. Like some of those 98 mile an hour sinker, which I still don't think exists.
I was thinking this too, how he's looked over his last 4 outings. I know it's only 4 outings, but it's 4 outings. 2 against Baltimore, 1 against Milwaukee, 1 against Oakland. That was how he pitched in the first half of 2022 for the Yankees.
Yes.
Where he was literally unhittable.
Yes.
Like no one could touch him.
The movement on his pitches looks very similar. He's got the velocity. You can tell he's got a ton of confidence right now. He looks fantastic.
And so the season totals for him, 15 innings pitched, 13 hits, 0 earned runs. We know that's a little bit skewed opening day. Soto throws the guy out at home. He had a couple of other instances where he did allow runs to score. They were inherited, and some other Birdie made a really good play early in the season. I think that was also against.
But even when those runs,
but like still,
you're looking at ground balls that found
right.
Holes.
So only a 1.60 FIP, which is fielder, independent pitching ERA, 10 saves, leads the American League. He's been filthy. But yeah, I could not help but get angry on Monday when he's trotting out of the bullpen in a game the Yankees are losing. After you refused to use him in a game you were tied in extra innings and could have had a save opportunity.
Well, you had to get him back to that 80-game pace because you already said it. So, or, you had to make sure that that pace was still on play. If we're talking about pace, it's May, like you said. So you guys are thinking the same way. You had to get him back onto that pace so that he didn't, didn't eat crow.
Yeah. So, listen, it's not like they, like to your point, it's not like they lost 8-0 all 4 games in Baltimore, but I'm still coming out of this series feeling very down about the offense. I'm feeling optimistic about the pitching, especially because I expect when Cole comes back and some other things, maybe the pitching staff even has a chance to improve throughout the season, or at least add to the depth that we have questions about.
100% the depth will be added to at this point.
Yes.
Knowing that there's a rotation spot going to be taken by a Cy Young pitcher. Again, we hope that he comes back fully healthy and everything checks out. But someone's going to have to go into the bullpen.
Luis Gil start, extremely encouraging. Mm-hmm. Clarke Schmidt start, extremely encouraging. Mm-hmm. We were looking at this right before we press record. Clarke Schmidt, 5 2/3, 3 hits, 1 run. He did pitch into the third time through the order. He pitched through the cleanup hitter. There was a big spot. Henderson's coming up. He's the leadoff hitter, so it's the third time through for him. There's a guy on third base in the 5th inning with 2 outs. And what do you think I'm thinking right there? Because Henderson hit a home run off of him to lead off the game that night. What I'm thinking is, you don't let him face Henderson right now. This is third time through the order, a runner on third. You're not scoring right now. You let this run score, you're probably no chance of win the game. But I'm not going to say to Boone's credit, because I'm never going to give him credit. To Clarke Schmidt's credit, he was able to pitch into the third time through the order and not implode.
He got through it too. I mean, he did it in 2 separate innings as well. He went and sat down, came back out.
He got 4 outs into the, not 4 outs.
They took him,
3 outs.
Boone took the ball after an out, right? So there was an opportunity for him. Who knows what happens, but he obviously wanted to keep him going on a high note and took the ball from him. But yes, it was definitely a step in the right direction. And if, listening to the guys talk about it, Girardi and Cone, who I just like together. I like that threesome of guys in the booth. It makes it's a good baseball conversation when you're talking about Cone and Girardi and Kay kind of playing point. But they were talking about Girardi thinks it's mental, because you look at the stuff, you look at how the pitches look deeper into the game, and it's not like he's losing much, not like he's losing velocity. The shape doesn't look off. It's just something that he's got to overcome mentally to get past this speed bump. And maybe there was a step in the right direction in this past outing for Clarke Schmidt.
That's an interesting point. I want to actually talk about that. But wouldn't it be great to speak another language? I'm very envious of people who can fluently speak another language, even though the best way to learn a new language is by immersing yourself in the country and culture. That might not be realistic for you. The next best way is with Babbel. Babbel is great because their convenient courses can fit into your hectic schedule. Lessons are only 10 minutes long, and they are handcrafted by over 200 language experts to help you start speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Babbel is designed by real people for real conversations. We're talking about you need to order food. You could do that. You need to ask for directions. You can do that. Talk to someone on the street. Just converse like a real person. You can do that with Babbel. They have over 16 million subscriptions sold, plus all of Babbel's 14 award-winning language courses are backed by their 20-day money-back guarantee. Here's a special limited-time deal for our listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription at babbel.com/Bronx. Get up to 60%. 60 isn't a crazy good deal. 60% off at babbel.com/Bronx, spelled BABBEL.com/Bronx. Rules and restrictions may apply. You said Girardi thinks the whole third time through for Clarke Schmidt is mental, and that's a mental hurdle he needs to get over. How do you think the Yankees coaching, front office, analytics department view it?
It's a good question. I don't know, because, well, I do know the analytics department looks at everything by the numbers. So they're looking at the production of the batters when Clarke Schmidt goes through the lineup. I mean, they're looking at factual things. They're not even contemplating a human element that has to do with why those things are the way that they are. They're looking at the numbers. It's a spreadsheet, and they say, take him out here because at this point, it's a diminishing return. Things get bad. And baseball people are saying, you know what? Actually, I'm looking at it. There's really no reason why that should be happening because the spin rate looks good. The velocity looks good. Like everything should be there. It doesn't look like he's fatigued. And they're making deductions based on that. Like maybe there's something else, which is exactly what you should be doing. You should be looking at both. You should be understanding what happens on the third time because that does play into the psyche and the mental of how a pitcher approaches things too. So, but they're looking at the numbers.
Yeah. So I was just curious because it's like, yeah, you're right. The analytics portion of the front office is just looking at the numbers. They're not buying into the mental aspect of it. But, based on how Boone and the coaching staff has handled Schmidt third time through the order, they might believe it's mental. And that's why they're pushing him into those spots because they think he can get over it and overcome that.
Well, at some point when you're looking at analytics, you have to consider that things can be overcome. It's not like you have to be wary of those trends. And maybe because of the analytics and the trends, like Clarke Schmidt also knows that. And he knows that if he doesn't get through this, like those numbers are going to stay bad. So I'm never going to get an opportunity to get into the seventh inning until I can get over this goddamn hurdle, which the nerds keep pointing out to me. So at some point, something's got to give, whether he gives the ball up or he, shoves the ball and down the opponent's throat and stuffs the nerds in the locker and said, look, I can pitch in the third time through. And I don't know, when you're looking at opportunities and you're looking at situations where you can gain a good mental advantage, you're doing it against one of the better offenses in baseball. That's a pretty good deal, right? That's a pretty good situation for you mentally as a pitcher to say, okay, the confidence level of going that third time through, I did it now. And I did it in 2 separate innings. I sat and thought about it and I came back out and I still continued to do it. And then I got the ball pulled, ball taken from me after I got an out on the third time through. So I think they've definitely put him in the situation to overcome it. And it hasn't happened until this time. And he got halfway there. He got halfway there.
Yeah. But also, Boone manages games if they're winning and losing very differently. They were down 1-0.
Well, I don't know because Clay Holmes is pitching in different games. So how the hell are you supposed to know that?
But okay. Well, my question is, what if the Yankees were up 1-0 instead of down 1-0 in that spot? Do you think he lets him face Henderson in there with a runner on third as the tying run? I don't think he does.
I don't think he's making the decisions, to be honest. I think that there's a group of people.
We're back to this. Helping. We're really back to this. So someone in the front office is buzzing down to Boone.
I think Brad Ausmus
you can't let Clay Holmes go 2 innings here. You can only let him go 4 outs. You can only let him go 5 outs, not 6 outs. Like his nipples get shocked if he goes 6 outs.
Yes, something like that. I think that I think Brad Ausmus is definitely getting more of the ear of Aaron Boone. I don't know. They talk a lot.
But Brad Ausmus should be like a your jersey dirty kind of baseball manager. Like
he needs to work through it. He needs to figure it out.
Yeah,
he needs to figure it out, and that's exactly what they let.
I don't give a crap about splits.
They've let Clarke Schmidt do that multiple times. Like it's not like they haven't. To their credit, they've given him the opportunity.
Let me get this straight. You're not even saying that the analytics are making the decisions for Boone. You're saying Brad Ausmus? Are you kidding me?
Something's got to be doing it. Like the puppet master has to be somebody.
It ain't Brad Ausmus.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is, and you don't know. No, I think that there's definitely a groupthink that's happening in the dugout more so than there has been in the past. Analytics are giving them the information, and that's
like a new age tech corporate word vomit, like put on like a whiteboard somewhere.
The reason I'm saying
what are our core values? They're a groupthink.
There are baseball guys influencing the decisions in that regard, because if it weren't up to the baseball guys, if it were just up to the analytics, he wouldn't be in the game. He wouldn't have been in the game going up against Gunnar Henderson after, again, he had a good swing, put one over the fence in the first inning. Granted, he's looked better. He looked good, very good throughout the entire outing. And there was some eye test that was used. He pitched better. He approached him better. He attacked the hitters in a better way. Maybe there was a, success off of some of the pitches that they felt really good about that he was going to go to in that third time through. There was some really interesting conversation between Girardi and Cone about that, going going to that off speed, a little bit more, giving, providing more front to back motion for Clarke Schmidt rather than side to side. A lot of guys can go side to side. Some guys can go up and down. Cohn was talking about the front to back. So utilizing that changeup, utilizing the off speed stuff to get guys off balance, front to back in the plate can possibly give him more success because of the repertoire, because of the types of pitches he throws. So they're obviously trying different things and seeing what can get him over the hump and where he feels confident. And I saw progress. And maybe this is why I don't feel so terrible after this outing, is because of progress that I saw on the pitching staff for guys that I wanted to see progress for. Maybe that's part of the psychology of why I don't think it's, it definitely doesn't feel like the worst losing 3 of 4, like State of the Union type of deal, because the pitching staff took steps forward this against a very good offense. And to me, that's a bigger story than the offense, which I do believe is going to come around and start matching at some point, because the pitching staff was my biggest concern coming into the year.
Okay. Well, at what point can we say, oh, this offense is just not good?
I don't know. I reserve the right to tell you at that point.
Because while it is a month of baseball, it's not like it's a small sample. Like, all of these guys have had ample at bats. This is an ample sample size for all of these guys who are struggling.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And yes, the time is now. They need to figure it out. These guys, there's too many of these guys that are struggling, and there's too many. Aaron Judge cannot go 1 for a series against the Baltimore Orioles. Anthony Volpe can't go 1 for. Rizzo can't go 1 for in a series like this. They can't. They need to give Soto more support, because right now he's the move of the offseason obviously is Juan Soto coming in here, but it shouldn't be the only thing that's carrying this entire offense is the one guy that they brought in. Obviously Verdugo, but he wasn't there. It should not be that way.
But and what did we say going into the season? This offense can't just be Soto and Judge. But we were banking on Judge being there along with Soto being consistently good, and Judge hasn't been. There's been second guys along with Soto at different points this year. It was Volpe to start the season. Then it was Verdugo who picked it up. It was Stanton for a short stretch there. But it's not been one consistent guy outside of Soto. And what you have happen this week is everyone, like you said, over. And really the only guy, like Soto, I know hit a home run, but it was in a game that they lost. Like the only guy to have a big hit in the game that they won, that was Oswaldo Cabrera. Like, it wasn't even one of those other guys. Like, all of those, even the hits that those guys got didn't matter. They came in times that were just not impactful for the game situation.
You look at last year, and I know I don't know why we compare year to year, because they should be different stories. There's different people. A lot of them are the same. But last year, Judge was the only one really hitting. Rizzo hit early, and then the injury happened, and then he stopped hitting. Then Judge
was their second best hitter last year, and Gleyber was their best hitter when Judge was out for those.
Yes, and that's not saying a lot. Like, it was a good year for Gleyber, but if he's your leading hitter, then you have problems with your offense.
Yeah.
But they do have Juan Soto, who plays every single day, and right now you look at what this offense is. They're not injured. They don't, that we know of, knock on wood. They're just for whatever reason not hitting. But those guys are there. Like, this run differential, I understand the 15 runs in 2 innings. Like, I don't really care.
That does skew it greatly, though. If they win those games,
make it 25. Call it 25. Call
25. Yeah, but when you have 20 wins, yeah, you should have a plus 25 run differential. That means you're winning every game.
But that's my point.
By a minimum of 1 or 2. They're winning all these games by 2 runs maximum
without Aaron Judge doing a goddamn thing.
Yes, he needs to start doing something.
Yes.
Okay, this team is going to continue to lose series if it's only banking on winning games 2-1. You have to have Judge. You need to have more guys in the line, but Judge needs to pick it up.
And this is why I'm glass half full, because I am very confident that he's going to. And we still have Juan Soto, who is just a baseline. We know exactly what he's going to bring, and it's just it's fantastic every single time out there. So when you have some of these other guys that will hit, because they will hit. It feels like right now that they won't, but they will hit. Unless they're injured and something is drastically wrong, these guys are going to hit.
Are you that confident for Anthony Volpe? Are you so confident in what we saw the first 2 weeks of the year that, like, oh, that's the Volpe?
The first 2 weeks is the first 2 weeks is not what he is either. That was Carl Yastrzemski. Like, that's not happening. He's not hitting 400.
So what is he? What is he?
We talked about him. We've always said that he's like a 280 hitter, probably. He's like a 280, 285 hitter.
And he's never hit 280. He's either hit 400 or 200.
Well, what does that equal when you
the problem is the 400 stretches last a week and the 200 stretches last 5 weeks.
Yeah. So do I think he's that? No, I don't. I think he's somewhere in the middle. And I think we will see that. I'm still seeing better at bats from him. Even these bad stretches, I'm seeing better at bats than when he was struggling last year. So yeah, I do think he's going to be, obviously he has to show it. I don't have as much confidence in him because the kid's only played for 1 year, but guys like Rizzo and Judge, I do have confidence in. I think Verdugo is going to be just fine, for the year. He's a good hitter.
Yeah.
And there's firepower coming. Don't forget also, like, there's more firepower coming. There's a guy named Jason Dominguez at some point that's going to be playing baseball for the Yankees. So
can he run more than a light jog, unlike Giancarlo Stanton?
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Look, you know what? That's a problem, actually. Can we talk about that for a second? Because the other thing is that this guy who, yes, he's hitting better than he did last year. Thank God, because you have to be. He was one of the worst hitters in baseball. But you can't
it's
run.
Not
like,
saying much. Like, let's
when
all
I
remember
hear that's his max effort. That's as fast as he can run. They were saying that's as fast as he can run. I'm like,
what?
That is bullshit. There is no way that is as fast as that man can run.
Well, you know what they're really saying? That's as fast as he can run without his body imploding.
That is as fast as he chooses to run. That's the answer. That's the right thing to say.
Because why?
That is as fast as he chooses to run.
Why?
I don't. Yeah, for whatever reason.
Why?
Fine, but that's crazy.
I know that's crazy. I'm agreeing with you. But he chooses to run at like barely above leisurely jog pace because he's afraid of injuring himself.
I don't even know as a competitor how you can possibly do that. How do you regulate yourself that way while being a professional competitor? You know what I mean?
I actually
it's crazy. It's a I got to applaud the mental capacity of someone being able to do that, because that's difficult. You get your juices going and then you still half-ass it down the line no matter what, you're at the same speed. That's hard to do.
I have a suggestion for Giancarlo that could actually get some fans off his back. But first, if you are looking for Yankees tickets this weekend, Game Time is your best friend. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, meaning buying tickets to a baseball game on Game Time is now faster and easier than ever. The May 4th game, the one you said you were going to go to, but we all know you weren't going to go to, is the Star Wars giveaway. I found an amazing deal. Like, right before we started recording, I went on Game Time. I found an unbelievable deal, which I would be shocked if it's still there. Section 210. So it's in near Section 205, but more towards the foul pole. 108 each, all in pricing for Star Wars giveaway day on Saturday, May 4th.
You're paying $50 for a bobblehead.
Okay.
Get there early, because you better get that goddamn bobblehead.
But like, there's tickets in the 400 level going for 110.
Yeah.
And this one's 108 all in pricing. Someone must have been sleeping when they put these on there. You got to go on there. Great deal. Game Time has so many good features. Flash deals, I love those. So you can get what sections the best deals are in, all in pricing, like I mentioned. So there's no surprise fees at checkouts, and you get your seat view. So if you never sat in Section 210, you can go see what it looks like. Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets to sporting events, but you can also find tickets for concerts, comedy shows, theater, and much more. Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and same row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code BRONX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Once again, create an account and redeem code BRONX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. My suggestion for Giancarlo is take shorter steps and pump your arms really hard, and it'll look like you're running faster than you really are.
Momentum might carry him faster.
Because he's still taking like these long strides. They're just in slow motion. It's like his busting it down the box. I was like, how is this possible?
There's no way that that's full effort. I'm sorry.
No, it's not full effort.
I can't be told that. I can't be told that. And me take that person seriously that said, this is as fast as he runs. They literally said it. This is as fast as he runs. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
And then
there's no way that's as fast as he runs.
His strikeout in the 9th inning on Tuesday on a ball. I put the picture from the Game Time app, or not Game Time app, the Game Day app. The ball is literally in the middle of the left-handed batter's box, and that is being generous, because if you watch this thing live, The ball almost went to the other side of the left-handed batter's box, and Giancarlo swung the moment the ball left the pitcher's hand. It was embarrassing. The MLB app has this as a 7-second highlight. A strikeout to lead off the 9th inning in a game in which it's a 2-run game. So it's not like Giancarlo Stanton is the tying run. It wasn't a long at bat that, the MLB's got to show this. It was a 15-pitch at bat. Let's watch this. No. The strikeout was so ridiculous. He missed the pitch by 7 feet, and I'm not exaggerating.
That's a classic Stanton swing and miss, though. Like, that's what he was doing consistently last year. He was waving at. It's just a wave. It's like a hey, how you doing at the ball that's going past you. So, yeah, I hope that that the early there wasn't just like a flash in the pan for like, hey, he's best shape of his life, came in and now he's tightened up. Like
he looks the same, by the way. Like
does.
His body looks the same.
Well,
maybe
he's
lost
still running. The way he's running
pounds.
like that doesn't mean like if you're doing Pilates and you're stretching and you're doing all these things to like limber out and you should be able to run faster. No,
he's terrified of pulling a muscle. He had quad problems with the Yankees. He's had calf problems with the Yankees. He's terrified of pulling a muscle.
Look, I don't know. I'm playing softball, slow pitch softball. I told you the story last year. No, hear this. That my first game, I'm down the line, and I pulled both quads on the same.
Yeah, you pulled the Tanaka.
I pulled the Tanaka, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me! I've never pulled a quad in my life." And the entire season, I felt it. The entire season, I could not shake it. This year, feeling good, but you know what? I still do feel it a little bit. But you know what I do is I stretch. I stretch and then I feel good and I can run. I can run fast and they don't hurt and they don't get tight. If you warm up appropriately and you take care of your body, then your body will work. He's just not trying hard to run fast. And it does piss me off when I see it.
It should. It should not just piss you off. It should really just question what are they doing with him and how is this still 3 years left after this season? Yeah.
Well, look, when Jason Dominguez deems himself as ready, there's going to be some shit. Something's going to give because there's not that many spots on this team. Something's going to have to give. I don't know what the hell that is. But you can go on the IR for not having to run. Like there's an injury somewhere in there. It's not a lie. You can't run that fast. You have the ability to run faster. You just can't.
Right.
That's an injury, right? That's a 60-day DL. That's what that is.
Yeah. Well, I know you dropped this in our chat, but Monday, Trent Grisham up there, lefty on lefty as the tying run, and he's there. I get it. Verdugo
there was nobody
out.
else.
The bench was short, but they legitimately with LeMahieu out with Birdie. Not that you would ever have Birdie a backup infielder be a pinch hitter there, although maybe you
in that spot you would.
Yeah, but this roster was built and they legitimately don't have a right-handed bat to come off the bench in a tying situation in the 9th inning for your 4th, soon to be 5th, maybe even 6th outfielder who's a left-handed hitter.
Yeah. No, I mean, that guy's never.
Good job, Brian Cashman. What?
He's not. Well, I mean, it's tough to say that Cashman, the Birdie thing really, is unfortunate. I think that's a guy that, I was very happy when we saw, that guy.
Let me ask you this:
the way that
why do you think they got him?
Player?
Why do you think they got him 12 hours before the season started for a bag of peanuts?
So if that's the case, if what you're alluding to is the fact that we got damaged goods, if that is the case, then okay.
Hold on. Have the Yankees ever received damaged goods in a trade before?
This is what I'm saying. If that is the case and that happened again, then there's a problem.
We were all looking at this trade. Birdie, I'm looking, I'm like, this guy can actually produce.
This is exactly what we need. This is exactly what we need.
Good job.
Yeah.
And now I think about it and I'm like, well then why'd they get him for nothing the day before the season started?
I don't know. But let's see what happens when he comes back. And I know that
it's not
coming back yet because he took himself out or said he can't start, but tomorrow he will be good.
My question is not a unrealistic question to ask. Unreasonable. This is a reasonable question to ask.
It certainly is a reasonable question to ask because it's happened multiple times. The staff, the medical staff of the New York Yankees, evaluating players that have had injuries in the past or haven't during trades. Frankie Montas is a great example. Like he's out there in Cincinnati pitching. threw a handful of innings for the Yankees, never even really did anything for this team. Multiple times this happened where they haven't identified injuries that have come about.
Do we know if Birdie played today? Because the update on Wednesday was that Birdie won't play in his minor league rehab game because his back locked up on him. But Boone said he hoped he would be able to play tomorrow.
I have not heard or seen that he had played. But
either.
if your back locks up for you on a Wednesday, chances are you're not playing on a Thursday. I'm just saying, he's not a young guy.
Common sense department says back locks up on a Wednesday. Probably
something
Thursday
is out. Probably aggravated in said back. Maybe give it a little more time. Maybe.
Oh man. So anything else you want to touch on? We got to talk about Rodon. So today he allowed 3 solo home runs, and then
it happened in a
very quickly
spurt too. Yeah.
There were some shots too, like well over the wall that that Michael K talked about. What did you think of Baltimore trolling Michael K for saying it would have been a tie game 3 years or last year or 2 years ago, whatever?
It's kind of funny, actually. Like it's kind of funny the fact that they're doing that.
It also would have been a tie game 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the point. It's not there. They moved it back for a reason.
Legitimately working. Like
it's 100% working. Year. They did that so that they could get more pitching and attract more pitching. Who knows? Maybe that wall landed them Corbin Burns. Very possible. It was part of the conversation. Promise you that.
And you know what also they did? They just were like, we're just having left-handed hitters, and our right-handed hitters are going to hit it over the wall. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, they're like, we got a bunch of young strapping guys who can hit bombs. No problem. We're just going to make it more difficult.
They treat the wall as a challenge. That's what they do. Personal challenge. Who can hit the most home runs over the left field wall? No. So Rodon today gave up 3 solo home runs, and then he comes back out for the 5th inning, allows a leadoff double. And then RBI run scoring single. I think he got a guy out on a fielder's choice. Then he gave up a triple, and then he was pulled finally.
And John Birdie, Ilya just put in the chat that John Birdie is in the lineup.
Okay,
so that's good.
Oh, it's a night game. There's still time.
That's good. Rub some Bengay on it. Walk out there. Are you allowed to use CBD anything?
Oh, I don't know.
Is that illegal? Is that a banned substance? Is any CBD ointments? Probably is, right? I would think it is.
I would guess yes.
These guys, honestly, at this point now, with everything becoming like pretty legal and just like tolerated, nobody gives a shit anymore. Definitely dicey situations out there for people, putting stuff on, because it's everywhere.
Baseball should hope CBD cream is their biggest problem. Okay, when it comes to illegal substances.
Yeah, and the other thing you mentioned earlier too, as going back to the last series with the Brewers, Ian Hamilton, because this could be a big deal. He deemed himself not available during one of the games, and then just hasn't
in
looked
that
good.
Friday game.
Yeah,
the Friday game was the game that obviously Clay Holmes, the whole saga with him.
Right.
Ian Hamilton. One of the reasons they were in that spot is because Hamilton told Boone he wasn't available that night, and then I thought when Hamilton pitched on Wednesday night, he looked terrible.
Yep. And he did. I mean, he had to get bailed out by Clay Holmes, and so yeah, keeping an eye on that, because another guy that goes down in the bullpen that already is overperforming. They are overperforming for what's going on out there. It's just another tough one for the Yankees to swallow. I mean, Cashman is going to have to be so goddamn active on this market for pitching. That
I don't know what he's waiting for.
Yeah.
Like, don't wait for the gas tank to say empty before you go and get the gas. Okay. Like, quarter tank, pull into the gas station and let's get some reinforcements here.
Yeah. Although the offense is the problem from what
the offense is the problem. Absolutely. That doesn't mean you can't add to a position that you deem to be still an area of need, which is pitching depth.
And a guy like Birdie, if he plays tonight, and has a couple of games where he feels good and he comes back, that is a help. That is a help. That is a guy that can, consistently make contact with the ball, consistently get on base. He brings a different element to the lineup, which should help turn it over. So, it's another bat that I think can help and late in games, because we cannot be in a situation where Trent Grisham is in the game, understanding that Verdugo's out, and Grisham had to start a bunch of these games. Cannot have him in a late inning situation where he's at the plate, especially lefty on lefty, when you're going up against a very good Baltimore bullpen in a game that is determining, your first place with your biggest foe in the division right now.
So the funny thing is Grisham actually has reverse splits against lefties, but like he still sucks against lefties, and it's Trent Grisham. So everyone chill. This isn't Juan Soto against lefties. This isn't Hideki Matsui against lefties. Okay, we're still talking about Trent Grisham. Splits go out the window when it's Trent Grisham, and just go get a righty against the lefty at that point.
I got one more thing to say. We got an email from Eric, who used to he used to submit mailbags quite often, asking if we were going to bring back mailbags. The answer is yes. We need to.
Where should people send them to?
info@bronxpinstripes.com. Just email it. info@bronxpinstripes.com. Send us mailbags, and we're going to start implementing them. If you send them, you could send them in DMs on Twitter as well, if that's easier. But either
you could physically mail them to Scott if you want.
You could physically mail them to me. Yeah. I don't check my mail. I barely check my email. I don't check my physical mail. So
you just told people to email you.
Well, that email box goes to other places too. I think you get it as well. But you can also remind me to check the email.
No problem. If I get it.
But yeah, info@bronxpinstripes.com. Shoot us any mailbags, and we'll start incorporating that.
That'd be great. Well, what did he ask?
Just that's what we're going to do it. Yeah. He's like, hey, you guys going to do this again? It's a great mailbag. Yes, we're going to do it. See? You just did it.
The first mailbag in 2 years was the best one ever.
Just did it.
Whether you are a world-class athlete or a podcaster like us, we understand the importance of mental and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. That's why I'm excited Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of the Bronx Pinstripe Show. Unified Healing is a new and innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or EE System. If you have not heard of this yet, then you want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness, deep relaxation, purification, and rejuvenation. Whether you're here in the New York City area or hundreds of other locations around the globe, access to a center is easy and affordable. If you're interested in experiencing the EE System technology for yourself, then go to unifiedhealing.com/Bronx to learn more and find a center near you. That is spelled UNIFYD healing.com/Bronx. No material or testimony on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including EE System. Okay. 2 articles I want to touch on before we wrap up. Both from The Athletic that I read this morning and I thought were both very good. Verdugo was talking about how he found the fun again. That was his quote. I found the fun again. He said, I did not expect to like the Yankees organization when I was traded to the Yankees, but he's been very, very happy so far. Loves the clubhouse, loves the camaraderie. They also told a story about how in the Oakland series during Stroman's start, Verdugo wore, remember there was that picture of him wearing one of Stroman's do-rags? Mm-hmm. And like they bonded over that and things. So far, there were questions about how Verdugo would fit into the clubhouse because that was a question in Boston. He was also benched for some things, not hustle and all that stuff by Alex Cora. So far, he has really, really fit in well with the Yankees. Now, of course, performance is a part of that. If you're performing, you're going to fit in better. But he has fit in well.
I got to say, I'm not surprised by that. And the reason being is because the Yankees players were pining for him to get over onto this team. Judge and Rizzo were both lobbying to get Verdugo onto this team. So you walk in and, it's well documented that there was not a good relationship in Boston. And you come, so of course things are going to get sour. Like it's going to, and maybe he's the type of guy where you start getting, a little bit of attitude that then he gives it back and it just spirals. I could see that. Whereas as here, like there was a lot of positivity. There were a lot of people that wanted him in the dugout. They wanted him on this team and not just anybody. I mean, the captain of the team wanted him on this team. So it makes sense. And yes, he has fit in well. And just frankly, the team they do look like they're gelling and having fun. That's what's so puzzling to me about this offense and why its offense is stumbling so badly, because usually when you have, those good vibes in the dugout, in the clubhouse, like guys feed off of each other, and it's not happening. It's not happening on the offense to get any kind of in sync patterns with when they're hitting to level off the consistency. So, but I'm glad he's talking about it. I'm glad he's having fun, because that's a good thing. It would be very bad if he came over and didn't feel good about it, because that would probably, be a similar situation in Boston, and it would become a problem in the clubhouse if you have someone who's not feeling it and not feeling wanted or welcomed in a clubhouse. And I think that's where he was.
Yeah, we'll see as the season as the season goes on, right? Like you just talked about how Dominguez hopefully is coming back. If Dominguez slots in as an everyday player, obviously Soto's an everyday player, obviously Judge is an everyday player. What happens to Verdugo? Is he a fourth outfielder? Is he spelling Judge a couple days? Is he spelling Dominguez a couple days? He's not spelling Soto, because Soto plays 159 games a year.
He plays 162.
Yeah, well, you know what I meant.
He plays all the games. No, yeah, it's not. I don't see it being Verdugo. Verdugo's here for 1 year to play and to do the best possible job he can, so that he can go out and get another contract. But he's incentivized to do well. The Yankees brought him over to fix things on the lineup, not sit him. The guy that's going to be not going to have a job and is going to lose at bats is going to be 1,000% Giancarlo Stanton. That's going to be the guy.
So, yeah.
And I think that they're prepared for that, because you bring Verdugo in here. It's not like it's a mystery. If Jason Dominguez comes back and is healthy, he is a guy that is a dynamic player, that he showed that in the short time that he's here. He's a dynamic player and part of the future of your team. Giancarlo Stanton is not part of the future of this team. Whether he's here for another 3 years or under contract or not, you look at who the players are. He's not part of the future. He's a guy who's got, he's got a short leash. I think. I think that they're not gonna sit Jason Dominguez consistently to play Giancarlo Stanton, who will not run out of the box and is hitting, at best 220.
The other thing I want to talk about. So Jason Stark did like a first month takeaways across the league, but the thing he said about Juan Soto kind of caught my eye. He wrote, Juan Soto, San Diego Padre, didn't have the look of a generational talent, but Juan Soto, New York Yankee, that guy might have a future. So obviously a little bit of tongue in cheek, but
you could say the same thing about the Nationals, though. When he was with the Nationals, he felt like similar to the Yankees. They were playing well. He was in the limelight for the first time. I think he kind of got lost and buried out in San Diego for a bit.
So that's what this talked about. And that's what I guess I didn't fully understand, is that what I was reading into is that after Soto turned down the $440 million contract from Washington in the middle of the 2022, it was the 2022 season, or whatever it was. Middle of 2022. He then went into a slump with Washington. Then he was traded to San Diego, and in 2022 with San Diego hit 236, 388, 390 for 778 OPS. For like a mortal, that's okay. Like you're being representative. For Juan Soto, that's awful. And then overall with San Diego, last year he was good. He finished 6th in MVP in 2023, and his total San Diego Padre numbers are 265, which isn't great, 405, which is amazing, 488, which is good, 150 OPS plus, 50% better than league average. Pretty damn good. Now, obviously, what he's done with the Yankees so far is even better than that. He literally leads the Yankees in every offensive category. Average on base, slugging, OPS, home runs, RBIs, and runs scored. Juan Soto leads them all. He's been everything and more that you would want out of the quote-unquote generational talent. But it was definitely, he did not like his time in San Diego. The article that it was linked to something also written in The Athletic, that his time in San Diego was described as tumultuous, and that he didn't connect with his teammates or coaches. He knew the Padres were never going to sign him long-term, so he never felt that was home. And ultimately he was, either waiting to hit free agency or waiting to be traded again. And that could have played a factor in his numbers, even though his numbers were still very good, right? Like 150 OPS plus, that's good. But I mean, is he going to be a 330 hitter like he's been for the Yankees all year? I don't know. I mean, I hope.
He's the type of guy that when the lights are on, the pressure's high, he thrives. And I don't know. I don't think, you go into San Diego, even though they had a bunch of names on that team, there was some controversy with Tatis. There was the underperformance.
There was hype with that team, though. That team was very hyped.
It was, but there was a lot of storylines with that team as well, with individual players that weren't very good. And the fact that the San Diego franchise went out and just spent a boat ton of money kind of out of nowhere. And like he said, not going to sign there long term. He's playing for a contract somewhere else, or he's playing to get traded somewhere else so he can show what it is. If you're not happy in a place, and this goes back to even Verdugo, like you're not going to play at your best. You're just not. So I'm happy that we're seeing him in pinstripes and he's thriving, because it shows me that he's that type of player. He wants to be the guy, at least one of the guys in a big market, in a big situation. He embraces that shit. And the Yankee pinstripes obviously come with their own allure, and he loves it. From all things that we're seeing, the guy loves it and thrives in those moments. So, it doesn't surprise me that he was unhappy out there, honestly. And San Diego, you kind of get lost out there, especially you're in a division with the Dodgers. You're overshadowed.
From a baseball perspective, you get lost out there.
Yeah, you're overshadowed in a big way playing in that division, I think.
The article also said that they expect him to sign for more than the $440 million he turned down.
Shocking.
And to that I say, you think?
Yeah. And you know what? I don't know. I don't know how the player thinks about these things, obviously, but he's seen what it's like in DC, won a World Series. There was a lot of talent on that team. He was obviously just coming up, had to kind of show the world what he was capable of. Saw a situation that had, a good amount of superstars on the team that didn't perform as expected and just wasn't overall happy. And now he's in another situation where he's in a huge market with a storied franchise, with a lot of hype, a lot of pressure, and he's thriving in it. So I'm wondering how much that plays into what his decision is. And if he's the type of guy that's not going to go out and just get the biggest contract, but do also, he's going to get to the situation that he wants, and he's going to get paid what he wants, but he's going to be in the place that he wants also. That I feel like that's,
but I think he has the luxury of that also being the most money, because he's that good.
He is that good. And that's absolutely right. And if he says to the Yankees that he wants to be here, the Yankees will give him the most money. I believe that. And if he wants to be a Yankee, I think he will be a Yankee. And I think it's similar to what we saw with Ohtani, Yamamoto, even. Like, these guys basically chose their destinations, and they figured out the financials one way or the other. They just kind of figured it out, but they chose their destinations. This was free agency, and the player chose. Granted, you have to have a willing participant, but there's flexibility enough to make things happen. And I do believe that I think it does go into the consideration. If I'm just an outside guy looking in, like just what he looks like and how he acts, he does look like he likes it a lot. And if he says to Boris, like, this is the team I want to be in, I think it's going to happen.
I agree with you. If anything, just because I hope so.
Well, and frankly, you are New York Yankees right now, and you're seeing what is happening. And if he goes out there and signs somewhere else for marginally more than what you offer, and you understand how big of a cog in this team that he is, how much this offense,
we're saying that, and it's been
on him
1 month.
I know, but he's that good.
I know. Yes,
he's that good. And the Yankees brass are tasting a bit of what having, a guy like this in your lineup does for you as a team. And they haven't even seen yet when Judge and Soto are hitting together. Because when that happens, this town's going to go bonkers. And the Yankees, off the field are going to feel that as well in a very positive way.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully next time we talk to you on Monday, it'll be our offense and a series win. We'll talk to you.